Hey guys, welcome back to the Rusty Beauties Garage. Today we're gonna have a little bit different video. We'll try to do something that I've never done before. We're gonna have to come up with some redneck solutions to a problem that can be solved easily by taking the car to a service, but we want to figure out if we can do it ourselves at home. And what I'm talking about is alignment, wheel alignment. And yes, you haven't seen that car before. So this is a friend's car, 73 TR6 I believe. I'm not sure what year it is. It's early car. And what we have here is he has problems with the rear suspension. It is totally misaligned. You can clearly see it. It has a lot of camber here. And I believe also it has a toe in, but I don't know how well you can see it from here. But yeah, you can see the camber on this wheel. You can see the camber on this wheel. This wheel is less, the other one has a lot of camber. So what he did was he bought this kit from Good Parts, adjustable, what are they called, trailing arm brackets. So we're gonna install these to deal with the camber, but for the toe, I think we're gonna need to come up with something. And I think before we even attempt to change the brackets, I wanna align the toe. So when we're changing the brackets, we're gonna put the same amount of shims. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just keep watching and we're gonna get there. So like I said, first of all, I want to determine whether we have a toe in or not, because it looks to me, when I look this way, it looks to me like this wheel has a lot of toe in. The other one maybe not, but the other one has a lot of camber. Yeah, you see, this wheel doesn't look like it has a toe in. I have a toe in. I've been underneath already and the frame has been repaired, so it's solid, but looks like they didn't do a great job aligning the repair panels when they were repairing the frame, because I don't know, or they didn't align the shims properly, or I don't know what happened, but whatever. So like I said, before we even attempt to install these brackets, let's see if we can do something about the toe. So first I wanted to try an idea that Eugene gave me before for toe in alignment, but I don't think it's too accurate. Let me show you what I mean. So we can take this perfectly straight pipe, you see it is not bent at all, and we can use it for one wheel, and for the other side we have another pipe. They are straight enough. We can put the pipes like this. So now they're barely touching the highest point of the tire. So you see, it's like barely touching. They're not pushing into it. They're just touching. The other one is the same. It's barely touching. And here it's barely touching. So now, if we measure the distance here at the end and over there, that should tell us if there's toe in or toe out. But that's not really accurate. We're gonna measure it, but I don't think it's accurate. But if we look at this pipe now, how it goes, points in, I believe. It looks like it has toe in. This one looks more straight. I don't know if we can look like this. Yeah, definitely it looks like this wheel has a toe in, but let's also measure between the two pipes. So from the end of this pipe to the center of the wheel is 66 and a half. So because this one is shorter, let's measure the same distance here to this one, 66 and a half. Okay, so this is 66 and a half. And let's measure also at somewhere in the middle, 37. So 37 is here. 56 and a half. And that's more like 56 and 3/8. But you know what? I have this laser measuring tool. 4 feet, 4/8 and 11/16. 4/8 and 5/8. Makes sense, but that's not accurate because I'm measuring between round pipes, so I always might move a little bit up and down and stuff like that. So I gave up this idea. It's not a good idea. We need to come up with something way more precise than that. We can use my laser measuring tool, but I'm not gonna use it as a measuring tool. I'm gonna use it as a pointer. What if we do this? This laser is designed so when you put it next to an object, it gives you a perfectly parallel line to that object. So if we put it like this, hit the button so we have a dot, and now we can put an object somewhere here and then an object a little bit farther with known distance and mark where the dot is on these two objects, and then do the same on the other side. Then we can measure the distance from this object to that object and then between the other two objects, and that's going to give us a little bit more accurate measurement. So I know this is going to tell us only whether the two wheels are parallel or not, but if they're parallel, that doesn't mean that everything is perfect. They might be parallel, but one can have toe in, the other one can have toe out, and they're still parallel, but they're not parallel to the axis of the car. So we're going to have to determine that too, but let's see in the first place if the wheels are parallel or not. Alright, what I've done is I measured from the center of the wheel to the bottom of this jack stand 98 inches. That's just happened to be 98, so that's where I left it. And then from the center of this wheel to here, again 98 inches. So now we're gonna turn on the laser and we're gonna move the jack stand until the dot hits in the center of this bar here. And then we're gonna do the same for the other side, and we're gonna measure the distance between here and the center of the other jack stand. And then we're gonna add these two other jack stands. We're gonna put them somewhere here, maybe 45 inches, maybe half distance or even less. We will see, maybe 30 inches or whatever. And we're gonna do the same, and we're gonna compare this measurement with this measurement, and that's gonna tell us whether our wheels are parallel or not. Okay, I don't know if you see the dot now. It is here. That's why I put that there. So now I'm actually gonna put it right at the edge of the jack stand. You see it? Right here. So let's do the same for the other one. So for this one, I had to flip the laser upside down because the distance from that wall to the laser is different. It's not in the center. So I flipped it upside down so we have a parallel measurement. So now let's measure the distance between the two jack stands. So that's 410 and a half. Let's write it down. So now we have them at 40 inches, and I marked again a line so I can move them left and right to adjust them. So let's position this one. Okay, this one is done. Just confirming it's still on the other jack stand where it was, which it is. There you go. So now it is right here. Okay, Now let's measure. 411, which means that we actually have toe out. How is that possible? I'm gonna double check everything because I want to make sure that the rear ones are still on the same line. So we're gonna put the laser here, and it's still hitting right here. So let's see if it is still hitting right here. If we move this a little bit, yeah, it's still hitting right there. So we'll bring this back. These are perfect. Let's double check the other side as well. All right, so I double checked and I had to move one a little bit. So now we have 410 and 5/8 on the far ones. On the 40 inches, we have 411. So we have, if the wheels are like this and like this, and we put a straight line down there, we have on the close ones, we have 411. And on the far ones, we have 410 and 5/8, which means that this distance is shorter than this distance, which means that we even have a toe out. Or the other possibility is that we have a toe in on this one and toe out on this one. We don't know that. So for that, we need to actually make sure that the wheels are parallel to the axis of the car, and to do that I have to come up with a different way of measuring. So let's figure that out. All right, this is what I came up with. So I put a box here, and we're gonna measure the distance from the dot to the center of the wheel, assuming that this cap is the same weight on both sides. I'm pretty sure it is. I try to put the wheels as straight as possible, but even if they are not, the center, the distance from the cap to here is not going to change a lot. So let's see what that shows. So I don't know if you see that. Let's bring you closer. So here we have 1 and 5/16. 1 and a 16. So we have a 1/4 inch toe in on this one. And I was expecting to see a toe out on this one. That's confusing. All right, so this is the situation now. Let's start a new page. The whole thing doesn't make sense to me. It tells me exactly the opposite than what I think. So we have front wheels and we have the rear wheels. At 40 inches distance here, we have 411. At 98 inches, we have 410 and 5/8. So the difference between here and here is 3/8. So this one needs to become bigger. In order for this distance here to become bigger, we need to give toe in on one wheel or the other, or both. That's the way. So that's why we measured now from here to the front, and this line here comes to 1 and 1/16 from the center of the wheel, and this line here comes to 1 and 5/16 from the center of the wheel. So this means that we have 1/4 inch difference here. So we either need to bring this 1/4 inch in or this 1/4 inch out, or a little bit of both. To make this distance bigger, we need to give toe out to the right wheel on the back, right? So it points a little bit out here. But that's totally against what we need to do here. Here we said that we need toe in on either of the two wheels or both to equalize these distances. So we can't give toe out to this wheel. But to make this distance smaller, we need to give toe in on this wheel so it can point a little bit towards the center of this, and giving toe in to this also is gonna help for what we measured here. So totally against my vision, because what I see is I see that this wheel has a lot of toe in, but all these measurements tell me that actually it needs to have even more toe in. I don't know if it is my eyes, I don't know if it is the body, but I'm looking from here, and everything tells me that there's a lot of toe in on this wheel. But maybe it's just my eyes, because all measurements show the same thing. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna follow the measurements. I'm not gonna follow my eyes. This one has a lot of camber, of course. Maybe it's because it has camber and it doesn't look right to me, but I think that's what we're gonna do. So I know for a fact, because I've been under the car, I know for a fact that here on the outer bracket we have 3 or 4 shims. On the inner bracket we have less, we have 2, I think. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna remove one of the shims from the outer bracket, and that's all. Everything else on this side and on the other side we're gonna keep the same when we're replacing the brackets. So anyways, I think we learned something from that. So it's time to start replacing the brackets now. Alright, so now that we have an idea what we're gonna do with the toe, we can start changing the brackets. So we're gonna wait for the dog to pass. So for those of you who don't know how the suspension works, on TR6 you have a trailing arm which is attached with 2 brackets here to the frame, and this trailing arm, that's the only 2 points where it's attached to the body, so it swivels like this. We also have the sliding axle here that comes from the differential. Here there's splines that allow it to stretch and collapse, so it becomes shorter or longer, because as you can see now it is pointing down, but when the suspension goes up it needs to become shorter. So that's why there are splines here inside. That's basically it. This whole thing moves. So if you want to adjust the toe, what we were just discussing, you add or remove shims between the brackets here. Actually, you can see that bracket better. But you can adjust the toe by adding or removing shims behind this bracket, and then this whole trailing arm can move this way or this way. So that's how you adjust toe. Okay, it's a few hours later, and I replaced the brackets on this side. But I'm not gonna show you that, because I kept making the same terminology mistake that I always make in the whole entire video. Now I'm editing it and I realized that in the whole entire video I kept calling this camber positive, which actually is wrong. This camber is negative and this camber is positive. So luckily I still have another side. On the other side we still have to change the brackets, so tomorrow when I'm changing them I'm gonna shoot the video again, and that's gonna make also for a better video, because now I know what I'm doing and I will be able to follow the instructions much faster and easier, and I'm gonna be able to give you better explanation of what I'm doing. But anyways, when I changed the brackets I removed one shim from here. Actually we had 4 and 3 on the inner, so we removed one from the outer bracket and now we have 3 and 3, and that's the only thing that I want to show you from the entire footage that I shot today, how this affected the toe on this wheel. Perfect. Exactly 1 and 1/8. Woo! So now I'm happy. We have perfect toe. So we have a perfect toe, and for the camber, probably I'm gonna adjust it a little bit, but I'm gonna suggest that my friend takes it to a professional shop so they can put it on a stand there and align everything. But I'm gonna try to do something about it. Now it's actually the same as this side. Well, no, this one is totally misaligned. Anyway, so that's gonna be for this video. I'm gonna change the brackets on this side tomorrow, maybe. We will see, maybe. So that's gonna be it for today, guys. Thanks for watching, thanks for commenting and subscribing, thanks for sharing. Thanks to all my Patreons and people who support me financially, because that's really important for me and it helps me a lot. It makes it possible for me to sit and edit videos, because otherwise I wouldn't be able to find time for that. So if you are not a Patreon and you wish to become one, or you wish to find another way to support me, you can look at the description of this video. There's details there about my Patreon page, about how to e-transfer or PayPal me on my email address, elin.yakov@rustybeauties.com. And that's it. So once again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.